After 19 months in the hands of Hamas, American Edan Alexander is now free. He was released just a short time ago in a handover to the Red Cross at the Gazan border. Now, the dual U.S.-Israeli citizen was released in a deal aimed at getting a ceasefire in the conflict and resuming delivery of aid into Gaza. It is believed there are 24 remaining living hostages of the original 251 taken by Hamas in its attack on Israel on October 7th, 2023. Alexander, who is now 21 years old, grew up in New Jersey before moving to Israel, where he was serving in the Israeli military when he was abducted during the Hamas-orchestrated attack that sparked the war in Gaza. Hundreds there cheering at a watch party for Alexander's release. Family, friends, and supporters. A huge screen was set up for the crowd, showing Israeli news coverage of that release. Crowds began gathering early this morning as word spread of Alexander's impending release. Now, the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, just released a statement on Edan Alexander's release. It says in part, quote, "The returning hostage has just been transferred to IDF forces in the Gaza Strip. The returning hostage is currently being accompanied by IDF Special Forces on his return to Israeli territory, where he will then undergo an initial medical assessment and meet with his family." All right, for how this is all playing out over at the White House, let's go to CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman. Willie, great to be with you. President Trump has been teasing the release of Edan Alexander for days now, including just hours before the actual release. How did his administration secure this moment?
Yeah, that's right, Liz, and happy Monday to you. Well, certainly welcome news for Alexander's family, Mr. Alexander's family, with his release. The president talked about this earlier today. We know that Steve Witkoff, his special envoy, was in the region, currently still in the region, to receive Mr. Alexander and to check about his condition. We know that the White House has been really pushing for not only the release of Edan Alexander, but also the release of the remains of the Americans who have been held by Hamas. The president touched on that earlier, talking about how the families have really advocated for the release, even expressing personal pleas directly to him, also to his national security team. We know that that has happened not only with the Biden administration, but with the Trump administration as well. We have seen the families come here time and time again to advocate for the release of the remaining hostages. I do want to bring up a post from the president himself that he posted just a while ago. He said, "Edan Alexander, the last living American hostage, is being released." He goes on to say congratulations to his wonderful parents, family, and friends. We know, of course, that the president is headed to the Middle East. Certainly conversations surrounding a more lasting ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas will be a top conversation with the leaders in the region that the president meets. He's going to travel to 3 different nations: Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates over the next couple of days, Liz.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about this 4-day trip, Willie. I mean, you mentioned Qatar is on the list, and that country recently gifted the president a plane that he says he will use as Air Force One. I can imagine there are some limitations, legal limitations, to gifts of this magnitude. And I know he's getting some criticism on both sides of the aisle for this.
Yeah, this raised a lot of eyebrows as we reported this story out yesterday. And now the jet itself, a 747-8, for those aviation enthusiasts out there, is a more updated modern version of the 747 that traditionally travels with the president, that the president travels aboard on those long distance flights. So that's the bigger jet with the 4 engines essentially there. This would be a more modern version of that plane. The president has really blasted Boeing for delays of the new Air Force One. That certainly won't come to fruition anytime soon. And this jet that the Qatari royal family has donated, says they will donate. Now, Qatar is actually saying, look, this is still under consideration. No decision has been made yet. They released that statement when I asked them about the situation. But the president himself is pushing back against this notion about this multi-million-dollar gift. Listen to what he said a little bit earlier.
Has Qatar asked ask for anything in exchange for that $400 million luxury jumbo jet? And how can the American people be so sure that they will not in the future?
Well, I think what happens with the plane is that, we're very disappointed that it's taking Boeing so long to build a new Air Force One. We have an Air Force One that's 40 years old. And if you take a look at that compared to the new plane of the equivalent, stature at the time, it's not even the same ballgame. I could be a stupid person to say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane. We give free things out. We'll take one, too. And it helps us out because, again, we're talking about we have 40-year-old aircraft. The money we spend, the maintenance we spend on those planes to keep them tippy-top is astronomical. You wouldn't even believe it. So I think it's a great gesture from Qatar.
Now, the reason why the president is talking about the money we spend on these planes is so astronomical is because of the amount of money it takes to secure these planes. And they're specially modified jets. They're not like the 747s, the commercial jets. Although they're similar, but there's so many modifications that go into essentially making this the White House of the sky. And the president wouldn't be able to fly this jet back home. In fact, he's not doing so on this trip because it would need to be modified. It would need to be checked if it indeed does transfer to from the Qataris to the Department of Defense. So it will be quite a lengthy amount of time. But in terms of the legality of this, the White House says that they're going to follow the law. They're saying essentially that they're still going through the legal process with this. The emoluments clause essentially says that you cannot accept a gift from a foreign power without permission from Congress. So members of Congress have been saying that you need the permission from them to be able to accept this type of gift, especially what would essentially be the largest and most expensive gift any president has received in American history, Liz.